The last episode, we talked about risk at sea and being on a boat. And this is about what happened after we got back, after the circumnavigation, after the 8 years of bringing 3 kids up on boats. What was it actually like for you coming back?
When I first got back, I didn't really feel like I belonged here. And I was going up and down on buses, trying to sort everything out, just wondering what everyone was doing, wondering what the whole meaning of life was, and slowly trying to get things organised, like connected the Wi-Fi at home, trying to get gas connected, all those things. It was a bit like moving house, I suppose, and also try to tidy up the house a bit and try to get the kids' shoes, clothes. It felt like we're in a kind of house sit, really.
So it was a bit like kickstarting life again from scratch.
Kind of. It just felt like we were nomadic, really. Didn't really feel like we belonged here yet.
You still felt in that kind of transitory mode.
Yeah, I was here on my own with the kids first. It was a very random arrival. We ended up getting some bikes off my mum and cycling with all our bags along the seafront. And then we stopped on the beach and looked out at sea, feeling like we belong more out there than here.
I was still in the boatyard for winterizing the boat and getting it ready and fixing a few things. You came back, but the tenants hadn't actually moved out, so you were technically homeless.
At the beginning, we were just couch surfing a bit with family, which was really nice because I didn't really have to face it. But then as soon as they moved out, I had to face the reality, and suddenly the burden of living in a house and keeping everything going hit me.
You were ready to come back?
No, I was not ready to come back at all. I didn't want to leave the boat. Didn't want to leave that amazing life, that amazing adventure, really.
I think it hit harder because we were back in the Mediterranean after going through Asia, and there was a lot of hardship there. And then coming back to the Mediterranean and meeting loads of cruising family, basically back into an environment that we hadn't had for a very long time. It was good food, good company, safe waters to swim in and play in.
In the Med, yeah.
It felt like a bit of a holiday, didn't it?
Definitely, yeah. It was amazing, really. Were you ready to come back?
I think I was. I don't think I was prepared for it, but I think I definitely had maintenance fatigue, particularly after spending 2 months in the boat by myself, just fixing the boat on my own. The home comforts, sleeping on a proper mattress instead of just foam rubber. From my perspective, it seemed like you'd thrown yourself into things immediately, but I'd forgotten that you'd already been here for 2 months. I landed expecting this welcome home, and you guys were just all busy doing stuff. For me, I felt completely lost, but you seem to have got your life going.
Well, I was lost as well when I got back. I was very lost. And it just so happened that I had a chat at a friend's random party, and I suddenly said, I quite like gardening, actually. And someone said, well, why don't you become a gardener? I must admit, before it, I didn't even know what I was going to do, really. And then I managed to jump on a course the next day, which was a quick 0 to hero to gardening. And so I suddenly got really busy doing that. It was very strange because I was off going to college. I was leaving at 7 a.m, coming back really late and leaving the boys here. So they were going off to school and I was calling them up and making sure everything was all right. And then Ewan was really ill for 1 week and I was at this college course. So I remember calling him up every day and feeling really bad that I wasn't there because normally we're always so close together. And saying, you okay? Take a tablet if you're feeling ill. And getting back really late and trying to put some dinner together. I did that after feeling quite lost.
So it wasn't so much a restart as a complete reset from scratch, learning new skills again.
Yeah. In some ways, that felt better, doing something. I was feeling really lost before that, not knowing what to do. And then suddenly I had this meaning. I was like, okay, I'm going to learn to become a gardener. And it just felt odd but normal. With the attitude of anything's possible.
I think before we came back, we discussed a lot of things that we might possibly do. And I came back still with those plans in mind. But when I came back, you kind of taken off on a completely different tangent. Did you notice that I was struggling a bit with that?
Yeah, definitely. The thing was, though, is the ideas, I always worried about them, that they wouldn't really keep us going, basically not earn any money. So I was a bit worried about that. So I just thought I need to earn some money, really. And I needed to because we were spending money really quickly. So that became my priority. My priority was to get out and get a job. That actually brought some money in straight away because our plans were very much a business idea for the future.
I was going to say, did that play a major part? Because when we got back, the cost of living hit us like a wrecking ball.
That was first and foremost, top of my head was just earn money.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing ever since.
It was like 8 years of inflation and cost of living just hitting us all.
Yeah, all the money that I'd made sure that we reserved with my financial planning went really quickly as soon as we got back. And I could see it just slipping away. And I realised that I need to get the kids so many more things.
Yeah, because by that point, we'd spent our emergency fund coming through the Red Sea.
We had a bit of a buffer that we kept for getting back, but that soon disappeared. So I just thought I need to earn money straight away.
So 8 years on the boat, it gave us a lot of things, but coming back on land, it gave us things as well. What's on each side of that? What did boat life give us? What did land life give us?
Boat life is just so remarkable, isn't it, really? Just the actual adventure, the fact that you're problem solving a lot is so stimulating, isn't it? It's such a stimulating environment and so fascinating, but also so together as a family. You manage to cut off from the world as well, but you're completely out there in the world. It's very bizarre kind of contrast, isn't it? Even though you're cut off from people most of the time, you actually feel like you're part of the whole wide world, and it's just an incredible adventure.
The whole world of freedom and independence. It's a double-edged sword, really, because you haven't got the structure of society to support you, but at the same time, you can do what you want. It's the ultimate freedom, and you're sharing it with people who have also gone through that change and that transformation and have grabbed that autonomy and independence and freedom and are living that life as well.
Yeah, so you're with people as well. I think you actually are completely living life to the fullest you could ever live.
It's very intentional, isn't
when you're doing what we did. I felt like I was really living life to the absolute full. We were living our very best life on the boat. And then when you get back, that's the other thing. Do you wonder if people are actually living their life as full as they could live it? I'm not saying it needs money to do that. There's so many things you can do, like more family time and exploring a lot of things. And
I think you mentioned that in a previous conversation about how people seem to be wrapped up in the trivial when we got back. On a boat, your problems are very real. If you don't sort something out, you could sink or somebody could get injured. The consequences of anything were very real, whereas the consequences of things back here are not so serious, and yet people seem to take them as seriously.
Admittedly, there are people here that do have situations and they really are struggling financially. Anyone's in danger of losing everything you have. But I do think it's easier to find help here than it was in a boat.
I think the support networks are well established.
But I suppose when you're using too much fuel or you've got a very high bill, you don't tend to cut down as much as you do on a boat. So if we see the water going down, we immediately stop showering without question. It's like, okay, saltwater showers today, or no shower tonight, or just a rinse off. You immediately take action. So it's less stressful because you are sort of in control. It's a double-edged sword, like you say. You're in control, so you can make a decision to change things immediately, but then you can't have a shower, where if you're living on land, you can go and have a shower at someone else's house or whatever if you run out of water.
There's a lot of contingency built in.
There is, yeah.
And usually most problems on land can be solved with money.
If you have the money.
But if you run out of water or energy or your batteries go flat at sea, that's it.
No matter how much money you have, yeah, it's true.
So the kids, how did you feel they coped with coming back to Brighton? For the boys in particular, they'd spent more time on a boat than they had on land. In fact, Ewan couldn't even remember living on land. And his perspective must have been quite strange when he moved back into the house.
Even now, I don't think he really knows where he belongs and where he feels like home is. Because he has lived longer on the boat, he doesn't quite feel like he's come home here. He was really excited about living land life. He's kind of done quite well making a group of friends, and he is trying to get involved in things. He's actually doing amazingly well, but he doesn't quite feel at home here and doesn't quite connect yet, I think. He hasn't been here long enough yet.
I think you're right. I think they all felt that disconnect.
Need to build a history, don't they, really? So on the boat, that is your life, and you're moving and you learn to live like that. But now they need to create a bit of grounding here, and that hasn't come yet, but I'm sure it will.
Rowan left us in Fiji when she was 16. Went to live with your mum for a while, tried college, didn't work out, got a job working in luxury hospitality. Did you expect it to come back when we returned, or had you kind of accepted the fact she'd flown the nest?
I don't know, really. She still might. She knows that we're here now. It's lovely. We speak to her more often. I feel like I'm more part of her life, even though we still don't see her that much because she's living away. She pops down more often. It's not like the big trip once a year when she comes back to visit us. I feel much closer to her, and I wish I could see her more, obviously. But it's nice to hear about her life. She probably feels more happy knowing that we're here. She can always come and stay. I love that she comes down, even if she just comes here and catches up on sleep. I just think that's so nice.
That's one thing she noticed was the people she works with, they think of a big trip going 3 miles into the big city, where she doesn't think anything of flying off into some foreign country or coming down here for a weekend. Her perspective of the world is very, very broad.
She is a traveller, isn't she? She'll go exploring, but she's enjoying what she's doing now. And I think she's got a network of people here within our family, my brother and my gran and granddad. And she's created her life here and probably adjusted better than the boys because she came back a bit earlier. She had to create a support network around her, didn't she?
She had to build up quite a bit of resilience as well because it wasn't easy for her when she came back. And Darroch, who's 16 now, I think he's more than anybody struggling with the structure of it. He always did struggle with structure anyway, but getting up in the morning, getting himself ready to go to college, do the work, hand it in. He's a very bright, intelligent kid, but he's struggling with the focus a little bit, would you say?
Definitely, but that's him. And I don't know whether that would make any difference. Maybe we just postponed it a little bit, but he was never into that before, and he's not into it now, but he is managing to get there. They're doing really well, I think. It's been really hard, actually.
He's migrated that passion for ant keeping as well.
He did that as we're going around the world, didn't he? I don't think he ever liked the nomadic existence, but he found something that was the same. There was a type of ant in every country.
I guess that was his constant.
It was, yeah. And he's an absolute expert at it now, isn't he? It's incredible to listen to him.
In fact, he's going to the national conference and doing an hour-long talk on ants around the world. Not bad for a kid who was turned down for GCSE biology.
That's because he didn't quite get that grade, but yeah, he's an expert in that.
And Yewan, I guess he's struggling with identity more than anybody because he's that age anyway where kids do struggle with their identity, 13, 14-year-old. But he's got the added burden of coming into a new place, a new life, living on land when all he's known is the boat, forming his own personality as well. I think he's struggling a bit, not explicitly, but a little bit internally, would you say?
Yeah, absolutely. They both struggled in a way, and they're both doing really well. I don't know whether they'll feel at home here. I think once they start to create some kind of history and a connection here, then they will feel more comfortable and secure in this situation. But to be quite honest, I think at this point, if we said we're going to go back and live on a boat, they would jump at the chance.
Yeah.
But there are some benefits of being here. So far, I think I've focused a lot on the negative. But I think the fact that you can build a community here in one place. We're lucky because we've got a bit of history here from before at the sailing club and around friends that all went to the junior school in the village. So there are friends here and we have got history, which makes it completely different, I find, because they're really good friends, a lot of those people.
8 years and still some things haven't changed. I came back and went straight back into meeting up with my drinking buddies on a Friday night. Yeah. Nothing's changed, which is great. I really enjoyed that continuity.
But I think they're all going through the children growing up as well. And that has changed the way we bring up our children. Everyone is struggling with the whole screen thing. I'm going to bring it up on every single podcast. The kids on screens, ban the screens. But everyone's struggling with that. And that has changed. A bit more tricky to navigate around. But it's great to have those friends from way back. They've stuck with us and followed us around the world and they're still here. And that's a lovely thing. I love it. Even though I don't get time to see anyone or do anything.
That's the crazy thing, isn't it? We've never been closer geographically, but it is finding that time. Everything seems so busy.
I remember before when I lived on land that everybody is busy and everyone is tired. You're always either busy or tired, or usually both. And when I first got back, I thought that everyone was busy doing nothing. And now I'm very busy and I don't have time to see anyone, really.
It's almost like we're scrambling just to catch up to the level of busyness that they're at. So we're like that little bit extra busy just to get on that normal band of busyness.
Well, that sounds really complicated. I don't understand that at all.
Maybe I'll unpick that
later. To survive in this world, you need to work really hard to make enough money to survive. And that's why I'm so busy.
So in that regard, would you have prepared differently coming back?
I don't think we had much choice in what we could have done to prepare. There was lots of logistics. Mentally, would I have prepared mentally differently? No, because I actually came back and I feel in myself extremely positive. Like I absolutely do feel that anything is possible.
I do as well. Despite the hardships, it does feel like a restart.
If you spend 8 years just problem solving, which is what we did, I felt like the whole thing was a problem solving exercise. Fantastic problems to solve and sometimes terrible things solved, but we were just constantly problem solving. Anything's possible, really. And now things don't seem like a problem, they just seem a thing to solve.
Do you feel like I do? It's like setting off on another passage. You know there's going to be problems, you know there's going to be adversity, you're going to need some resilience to push through it. But it's just another passage and you're just going to face things as they come.
I feel like I take it in my stride. Bring it on, because I'm so ready for it and I almost need it. Otherwise, I think life would be very boring. I need that. Tell me about it. Let's solve this. Anything that's too negative, it's like, no, can't do that. Well, why not? Why can't we do that? We can do anything. I do have that energy. I don't see it as a problem, really. I don't see how you could have prepared differently. In an ideal world, it'd be nice to have more cash flow when you got back. It would be great to have a car already when you got back. It would be great if someone had cleaned your house for you, cut all the hedges and washed the floors and provided some food in your fridge, gave you a job and all those things that you wouldn't have to do. But then I just did what we normally do, which is take each step at each time and solve the problem. We didn't have any Wi-Fi, so we'd go and spend most of the time down the library. That's how I solved that problem, which is the same way we solve the problems around the world when we had no Wi-Fi. We just go to somewhere where you've got a Wi-Fi connection. If someone had done all those things for you, then the process would have been very different. And I think the only way that could have been different is if you had more money. Money stops you having to solve those problems, but I don't know if people that have money are happier because they don't have anything to do they? You still project manage the people you need, and that could be quite fun, going, right, you're going to do that, you're going to do that, you're going to do that. That would be quite fun doing that. Set an agency up, just solving problems.
Isn't that kind of what you do now with your gardening and your sailing?
I feel like I'm wasted. I actually feel like I should have my own company and I look after people's lives.
That's always been you. You always feel like you should be in charge.
Well, not in charge, helping them out. They've got the money, I've got the ability to sort their lives out. So if anyone needs someone to sort their life out for
So
them.
you just see the garden as a bit of a metaphor.
The garden is quite nice because I don't have to talk to anyone. I can just sit there pruning.
It's unusual for you because you like the company of other people.
I do get company, but it's quite tiring sometimes. And I wanted to help in a therapeutic way with people, but I was a bit worried that I might find it frustrating because people might not be motivated to change. So I needed to do something that actually I could see change immediately. And when someone's garden is completely overgrown and you come in and sort it out, it's such a fantastic feeling.
So it's more a cathartic exercise than an actual job.
Yeah, people can't understand how much I get done. They look at it and go, wow, the way I sorted the garden out. And I'm just like, wow, that was really good. I feel so much better.
So it's catharsis and validation.
No, it doesn't earn money. But I'm not just doing that, am I? I'm also teaching sailing and revalidating all my instructor certificates and working for Brighton Water Sports. And I love that too, because you get lots of young people out on the water off their screens doing really cool things. And I'm also challenging myself because I'm going to little boats now and helping more and more responsibility in that place. So
you kind of go in the opposite direction of most sailors, which is starting on the small boats.
And they dream of big boats. And I'm like, I've done the big boats. I want to go on a dinghy. That is really cool. And I'm a lot with people then and a lot of kids and so forth. So it's quite nice to have the balance, really. How about you?
How about me? What?
Well, what are you doing?
Thanks for asking. I think we had this conversation earlier on. It's kind of where's your looking forward? I'm still trying to consolidate what's been going on. So I'm trying to build up the archive of everything we've done, all the media footage and writing the book. So I'm very much looking in the rear view mirror at the moment. I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, but I'm just thinking maybe I need to move on a little bit. I do seem to think that 8 years at sea, you get a lot of insights, knowledge and wisdom, and I just feel like that needs to be consolidated before I'd feel comfortable moving on from that. Does that make any sense?
It does make sense, yeah. You're different to me, aren't you, in the way that you do things. When something's happening, I'm like right there doing it, and you haven't quite put 2 feet in, have you? You're dipping your toes in, and maybe you didn't really embrace what was going on when we're sailing around the world the whole time. I don't think you really loved it as much as I did you?
It was very much up and down, really. That whole cliche of fixing boats in exotic locations.
I think that overtook, maybe.
It did. I think it started in the Mediterranean because we're spending more time fixing the boat than actually sailing on the boat. And so we split those 2 YouTube channels off. One went down the maintenance route, one went down the travel route. And I don't think we ever brought them back together. I think I followed that maintenance bit and you were more involved in the travel and the planning. I would have loved to have not done so much maintenance. I think I would have loved it a lot more. It's not that I didn't get anything out of it. I really, really enjoyed it. And there were times absolutely once in a lifetime experiences. But I was kind of relieved to get back, I think, at the end and just have normal problems again rather than the boat sinking.
Obviously, I was very aware of what you felt like about all the maintenance. So it definitely made me more ready to come back. That's a tricky situation to be in when the person, their main role is the maintenance, doesn't really like doing it. It was also quite frustrating for me too.
When you're watching these YouTube channels, everybody's going along, they have their ups and their ups and downs, and then they just simply disappear. And nobody seems to document coming back, probably because it's traumatic or usually there's a reason behind it that they don't want to talk about. What advice would you give to somebody who's out there thinking about coming back? What would you say to them?
To get them ready for it.
Yes.
There's all the pragmatic things to do, which is make sure you've got some funds when you get back. You can do anything now, unless you're committed to sabbatical. Then if you haven't got that, then you can do anything, really. So keep that energy with you. Keep all the things that were good. Try to bring that with you as much as possible. Taking time out, doing stuff with the family, doing things together, not losing that. Just trying to keep the energy, which I think would probably stay with you anyway. Just be prepared that you won't quite settle down, to be quite honest. I don't know when that will happen, really.
So be prepared for being unprepared.
Most people I've spoken to don't really quite connect and settle down again when they get back because they've done this thing that's slightly disconnected them from everyone else. Depending on how long you've done it for, really. But I think that probably will change at some point, I expect. The way I've done it is just get stuck into things, just take opportunities and go for it. If it doesn't work, move on to the next thing. Connect to people like you would when you were away. Just imagine that they're your boat buddies. Actually, I get a lot of joy and get a lot back from that when I connect to people in that way.
Get busy and get involved.
Maybe you need more time to reflect on it. We haven't had much time to reflect at all.
But it must be strange for you because you're still editing some of the blogs from our travels. Does that take you back and fill you with nostalgia?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I love it. I love going back and I feel like I'm there again and it makes me laugh and feel sad. Yeah, absolutely. Really enjoy doing that. So I kind of almost don't want them to finish because that means I'll have finished. But then I watched the videos from the start again, couldn't we?
Yeah.
But definitely nostalgic and wow. But then you've got to try and find some of that as well in your normal everyday life. You can't keep being nostalgic. Yeah, keep the adventure going somehow. Know that there's going to be more adventure. Once we get sorted out financially, then we might have more adventures. I'm kind of looking forward to that. I can't see that in the near future. But I just feel like that's all been taken away, really, the adventure.
But adventure is not just about going somewhere else. It's about having different experiences. And you can have the different experiences in the same room.
I'm doing that in the things I'm doing, gardening and teaching sailing is an adventure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can do that. But it doesn't really beat the adventure we were having, does it?
No. We've covered money, education, social lives, risks that we took, and what it actually feels like to come home again. Between us, we've agreed on more than I expected and disagreed on more than Irenka is probably prepared to admit to. If you've been listening from the beginning, thank you. And if you found us somewhere in the middle, then go back and start from the beginning. It's worth it. Next week, we go deeper with the book. We're going to look back through 8 years at sea, about 40 countries, 40,000 miles, and bringing up 3 kids on a boat. We'll be agreeing and disagreeing and hopefully giving you some insights. So that's it. We'll see you next Thursday.
See you then.
Bye.
Bye.